By the way, man, your voice is bleeding over to my microphone to hear you.
We all hear her.
You could just ride the mute button, Ken, I suppose.
I might have to ride the mute button if she's not going to stop.
Does she know you're streaming?
Yep. Well, not streaming on this show. Oh, I didn't. What? I said us first. Why didn't it come in?
Wah, wah.
Is that working anymore?
Hold on. I'm not seeing the chat, so give me a second, because, I'm not seeing it. Oh,
Yeah, I'm first.
Bummer. I didn't try.
You didn't
Can't
try
be disappointed if you didn't even try.
No, you can't be.
Nope.
Yeah, you can. You can still have expectations.
Have your expectations so low, you'll never be disappointed.
Oh my goodness.
There you go.
Guys.
Did you just hear the toilet flush?
I heard something that might have been.
Oh, well, I'm here. The good news, Francisco. I'm hearing.
You're hearing us?
Yeah.
Are you
on Twitch.
seeing us?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Good.
Progress.
Much more progress than last time.
Yes.
That was dreadful.
Now, how can I stream your stream instead of my stream? Oh, forget it.
Yeah, I would just stream your stream. Oh, but let me change. Let me make it so we can. So I can start sharing chat.
Wait.
Okay, now I can see your.
Tungsten, he doesn't have the anger of 12 men. He's only one man.
Is that my Twitch account you're trying to show up there?
Trying to show where?
Yeah, it says Ken at Kennethan.
Yeah, would you prefer it to be?
It's Kennethan Live.
Okay, I can update that.
So yeah.
Oh, you changed it.
Well, no,
That's for Twitter,
I messed
right?
up last time. Yeah, Kennethan Live. I messed up last time and I didn't change it.
All right, give me 1 second here.
We'll see how long it takes for us to get angry enough.
Is it Kennethan Live all one word or is there an underscore?
Kennethan Live, yeah. It's all one word.
Kennethan Live.
Hi, Dale.
Okay. Hey, Dale.
Thank you.
You can hear us this time. Success.
Awesome.
No.
Well,
no, you can't hear us?
Not slightly annoyed, man. I mean, Francisco's going to be slightly annoyed by the end of this, possibly.
Well, we have to get the bite me meter out.
We haven't had that in a while.
Well, the rage meter is sort of like a
It's a knockoff bite me meter.
knockoff. Knockoff.
Why would Francisco be angry at all? I mean, just
Good point. Why is anyone angry at all?
Why would you be angry, husband?
No reason.
Reasons.
No. Let's see.
I can give you 12 of them.
Wow.
We will avoid any references to movies that might trigger.
Well, those get referenced all the time. The kids firmly know who the Knights Who Say Knee are.
Oh, nice.
They've been shown clips.
Much to my chagrin. Okay, I lost where chat was, so let me get chat again.
I mean, I'm not a man, so
312. Oh,
She's
that's a good
man.
point.
yes, you can be the 3 of the 12, and I will just
Hey, Yoshi.
be here.
Yeah, that'd be great. We have three. I guess we're just gonna go with men. We have 3 men here, and then how many do we have in chat? We have
3 men and a little lady.
Oh my god!
I mean, yes, I'm petite, so I guess that works.
Have you ever seen those movies, Ashley? Like 3 Men and a Baby? Okay.
Nope. I mean,
Poetically Christian.
I'm
Hello.
like 5'2", so I guess you could call me a little lady.
I suppose, yes.
Well, my wife's 5'2", so it's not.
There you go.
That decent.
So Dale D. Tungsten, Yoshi, Geek Devotions.
Nice. Welcome.
Poetically Christian Gamer. So that's 5 plus 3, 8. So we just need 4 more guys. Flux Joe Justello. I might be the 13th. No, you are the 9th.
You're getting
So
close.
we need 3 more. Tell your friends to come over and be angry with us.
Wait, who's angry? I'm not angry.
Oh, we just lost Ken as being angry.
Back to 4. We need 4. No, but thank you all for being here. We're about to start the show. Paul, would you pray?
Yeah, I just realized the joke. Why you called it Joyful People on the Discord.
Because it was us, yes.
No, because angry. Rob said angry. Okay,
I was just doing the reverse. So.
You were.
My bad.
All right, Lord help us. Anyways, may you be glorified and help us be less angry. In Jesus' name.
Amen. Amen. Right.
This feels too bright.
Is the bite me meter rising?
Well, it's not on this scene. I don't have on the podcast stuff. I don't have any of those effects or anything. Why is that going?
Oh, it's my favorite. That's how I almost lost my voice last week.
With the ah.
Yeah, trying to mimic that. Yeah.
Oh my word.
You can hear. Can you hear the scream on your end?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh,
I don't think you
cool.
guys can.
I delight in
No.
it. It is like my favorite thing ever.
Okay.
Does that
So-
mean you want to get my audio recording for the podcast then, with all the deaths we're gonna hear?
No, it's on a different channel.
Oh, okay.
Like, I'm getting your guys.
Am I on the channel?
Yeah.
Oh, we haven't done the 5 seconds of silence.
Yeah,
or
we haven't done
anything.
that. I mean, you guys, you and Ken, and then are on different tracks. Then Ashley and I are on one track. That's why I have the jar going that has her and I on different tracks. Yeah, so it's a big to do. I'm not going to go more into it.
You're gonna get your.
Yes, I'm going to get my 5 seconds of silence. All right, so we're going to start it. So yeah, just don't talk. Ken, if you're able to have unmuted so I can get your floor noise, that'd be ideal. I get if Luann's singing though, it could be tough, but let's just do our best. So unmute.
I am unmuted.
Okay, perfect. Okay, great. Let's try and
I have noise suppression on right now too, so maybe that's what's.
let's try now.
Okay. No? Oh, sorry. What? You think I'd play something like this? I'm quiet.
The audience is now deaf.
Thank
Don't
you.
forget the ride.
Oh my
Trying
gosh.
not to laugh, man. It's not helpful. Okay. Really not.
Yeah,
helpful.
traumatized you, Yoshi. Yes. Hey, Leslie. And Geek Devotions, Leslie. I know you guys were going to be streaming tonight. I hope that you guys are able to get through all the work you have, and I know that's tough because you're wanting to do that. You're on Rift Tracks, like you're watching us and Rift Tracks. That's interesting. Pokescoop taught me that all the cool stuff is on Channel 1.
Oh, I like that, Johnny. I'm going to use that.
That's great, Terry. Okay. All right, guys. Sit over. Let me double check. Let me look at the checklist here. Okay, did that. Did the 5 seconds. All right, Paul, how are you feeling about... do you get the joke, by the way, me calling you Superman?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right, let me minimize this a little bit so I can see everyone a bit better. All right, guys, thumbs up if you're ready to actually start the show.
Oh, we're seeing that tomorrow, Detungston.
Yes, don't spoil. Correct. That's good.
Spoiler. Let me see. Kid learns how to do karate.
Okay, I was going to ask you. So I already saw it. So if you want to talk about it, phone me.
We
Francis,
haven't
or
seen it
whatever.
yet. Why would
No,
you
I
want
said
to-
it afterwards.
Oh,
if
oh,
you want to.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you want me to just tell you what happened.
We're seeing it tomorrow because we're cheap and we got it half price because
Tuesday.
cheap.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I mean, when tickets are like $11 or more per person.
Thank you, Poetically.
It's like,
Yeah, makes sense.
And I will, I never do this. I should be better about this. But let me just say, if you're looking for weekly devotionals, definitely check out Geek Devotions at geekdevotions.com and youtube.com/geekdevotions. If you want to see someone playing fighting games while being legally blind, which is quite the feat, definitely check out Poetically Christian Gamer, just playing Killer Instinct today. If you want to check out some cozy games, definitely check out Yoshi OST here in chat. And then, just follow Dale and D Tungsten because they're cool too. So just do that.
Okay, now cue the music and that star thing.
Always at the ready, Paul. Okay.
Indeed. Is this too far away? Do
The
you want me
time.
to shift.
No, I think you're fine.
Okay.
The time warps aren't going to work. None of that stuff is going to work. So,
Yay.
all right.
Okay, Power Rangers,
I'm
let's
actually
do
stream
it!
Sometime it does. Oh, well, then definitely follow Detungston, who streams occasionally. All right, then let's go ahead and start the show, guys. Paul, whenever.
Lock on and fire!
You start.
Oh, I do. Right. Okay. Let me get my Henry Fonda. Okay. I have a question. Where were you Monday night?
Monday night. You mean tonight? Tonight's Monday night. I'm here with you right now on this episode of the Retro Rewind Podcast. All right, we can go again.
Wow. Hey, Darth Bredius. Welcome. Okay. It's hard for me to get my Henry Fonda. You had to break me. Okay, here we go.
He did
Sorry.
to start with.
I live for it. Where's my dun? I don't have one yet, but that was good. Boing.
I have a question for you. No, it's more gravelly. I have a question for you. Where were you Monday night?
Monday night. With my wife. I went to the movies.
What did you see?
Clue. The whodunit.
What was the second feature?
Second feature. This isn't 1957, but if it were, it would be this episode, 326 of the remarkable something. No, Retro Rewind Podcast.
Retro systems online. Reflux capacitor fluxing. Scanning room space-time for 12 Angry Men, 1957. Rewinding in 3, 2, 1.
Edna mode. Paul, can you either back up from your mic some or turn it down some?
Back it up. Beep, 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 beep.
Your flux capacitor is Ray. Fantastic flux, Joe.
Should we do it
just
again?
terrible.
Monday night. Is that tonight?
Let's do it again. Might
All
as
right.
well,
All right.
yeah.
That's fine.
Okay. Yes.
Is this, well, let me know. Is this good or is this too? Should I get closer?
Do one
Or
of the
should- is
lines.
this-
Do the second feature.
Monday night. Yeah, me and my wife went to the movies, say?
Okay. Yeah.
No, I think
Yeah.
that's better. That's better. Thank
It's
you.
a clue. It's a whodunit. Yeah.
That is better. Thank you. Okay. So
Okay.
here we go.
Yeah. Monday night. Yeah.
I have a question. Where were you? Nah, it's more gravelly. I have a question. Where were you Monday night?
Monday night. My wife and I went to the movies.
What did you see?
A clue. A whodunit.
What was the second feature?
Second feature? This isn't 1957, but if it were, it would be episode 326 of the remarkable something. No, retro. The Retro Rewind Podcast.
Okay, and I'm not going to replay the bumper. Perfect. Thank you. There's no self-authority. Geek Devotion.
Let's do it!
Sorry. I will interrupt your sound clips, Paul, without
That's
hesitation. All right.
Sound effects Smurf.
Man.
And we lost Ken. Oh, now he's
Yeah,
back.
he's back.
Okay. What were you trying to say, Ashley?
I was gonna say I hear Power Rangers. I'm like, I went down to Power Rangers.
You sure did. Oh my goodness.
Power Rangers, let's do it!
But it was a terrible, terrible season of Power Rangers. No one go.
It's morphin' time!
No one go watch Power Rangers Turbo. I just wanted the setup for Power Rangers in space.
And that's the right call, Dale, to be at home watching this episode of the Retro Rewind Podcast. All right.
There we go.
So, getting back to the show here. Welcome, rewinders and new listeners, to the Retro Rewind Podcast, where we take a fresh look at movies and games from 15 or more years ago. I'm your captain of the pod, juror number 1, Francisco Ruiz, and I'm joined by your XO and mine, juror number 2, PaulJPowers.com. Wait, Paul, the juror number 2, PaulJPowers.com Powers. That's what I meant to say.
Let's suppose it's just pauljpowers.com/juror number 2.
Let us suppose that. And also for this discussion of the film 12 Angry Men, we welcome aboard a beautiful woman, our administration officer of the pod, Ashley Ruiz. Hey, Ashley.
Hi.
And I guess you'd be juror number 3.
Yeah. If it was like a 1997 version, it was a jury of peers and it wasn't just limited to one sex. Yes, absolutely.
Perfect. And then in addition to Ashley, we are also glad to have back aboard engineering officer of the pod and juror number 4, Ken Cummings. Hey, Ken. You are muted, Ken. Unless you guys are hearing him and I'm not.
Nope, you can't.
Nope.
Are you
What?
muted on your board, maybe?
What?
Oh,
He's
there we go.
back.
There you are.
I'm sorry. That's weird. That's weird. Okay. So,
No worries.
you do know number 4 is unlucky number in Asia, right? So, number 4. Okay.
So Does that mean we're bringing you bad luck, or you're bringing us bad luck?
Ooh, maybe bring you bad luck. I guess.
Interesting. I guess we'll find out by the end of the episode. But
I'm glad to be back. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it, especially for an old movie. No, I was not around for this movie when it came out. I am not that old.
I wasn't going to ask. I was just going to assume.
Ooh.
Like that makes it better.
Yeah, it makes it really better. Yeah.
But regardless, now that you have a quick flyby of who we are, Paul, can you give us a quick overview of the production specs for? Okay, now listen. You gotta listen to me, Paul. This is
Why?
12 Angry Men.
It ruins the bit when I listen to you.
12 Angry Men.
12 Angry Men, released August 16th, 1997 on Showtime. It's rated PG-13.
He did
runs an hour and 57 minutes. It was directed by William Friedkin and written by Reginald Rose.
Paul.
His name's Friedkin, by the way, not Friedkin.
Oh, freaking William, whatever.
Paul, why don't you give me the teleplay? Why don't you go to the wrong year with that?
What?
Paul, the 1957 12 Angry Men, please.
Oh, are you
Sidney
kidding
Lumet,
me?
director. Henry
That could have been
Fonda.
brought to my attention yesterday.
Fine, I'll rewind. All right, we're in the 90s, right? 12 Monkeys.
No,
December
the
8th,
50s.
Oh. All right. 12 Angry Men, April 10th, 1957, right? Not the
Yes.
original screenplay of the TV, right?
Yes.
Okay, good. Runs an hour and 36 minutes and is rated approved. Directed by Sidney Lumet, I don't know how you pronounce it. Written by Reginald Rose, with lead stars being Henry Fonda, one of the grandpas from National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, the not so nice one, and Piglet. And music was composed by Kenyon Hopkins, who wrote less than 3 pages of music for this film, probably.
Pause.
Are you
back up from the mic some, Paul, or turn yourself down because you're still like getting really hot.
all right? I'm putting the mic back. How's this?
I think that's good.
All right, we'll try this.
Okay.
Yeah. Then when I get excited, I get like this. Is that too hot?
No, that's good.
Okay. Where do you want me to? All right, with
The
lead
the
stars
box
being...
office. No, you get.
All right.
Don't worry about that. Just go to
Are you ready?
box office.
All right, you ready for the box office trivia?
Move your mic just slightly closer.
Are you ready for the box office trivia?
I'm trying to be so particular.
That works.
No. Are you ready for the box office trivia?
Yes.
Great. Forget everyone in chat and everyone listening. We'll just move on
Sorry, I
forward.
was thrown. Ask me again. Ask me again.
Monday night? This Monday night? Okay. And are you ready for the box office trivia?
Oh, I am ready. Ashley, Ken, are you both ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Indeed.
Okay, I need to turn that off.
Yeah, I don't think you can. It's
need-
baked into
You
your...
need to do another end of book
Because
and then
it's on YouTube. It's on no matter where people are. It's in there.
Oh,
I don't know how you did it.
I can stop it.
But if someone
Don't
does it,
you
can I
worry.
just do it instead?
Edna mode.
So many Edna modes. I think we're up to like
Well,
the equivalent of like 5 or 6.
You know, I said number 4 is unlucky in Asia, so I'm
What about number 5?
apparently, you know, I don't know. Oh, and I'm 5 now.
I assumed you knew, darling.
okay. Let's see.
Ah,
Oh my gosh.
that's also good.
Okay, and disable that part.
You're
All
making
right.
me sad. Husband.
Now it will stop working.
Man.
Okay.
All right, where were we? Box. Oh, okay. Monday night.
Yes, it's Monday night.
Okay, so all right, you guys ready? And anyone in another one I have to stop? God's sakes.
But there's no. Does Tom Selleck still show up though?
No, he doesn't show up in this.
That overlay is great.
Oh my gosh, Paul. All right, there we go. Okay, cease and desist.
Oh.
Excuse me.
And anyone live in chat? Where were you Monday? Oh my gosh, poetically. And anyone live in chat? Poetically, Geek Devotions, any of you, you're welcome to join in as well. Go for it, Paul.
I'm sorry, I was watching the moose spin. Sorry.
I was waiting for the moose pen.
Since the box office records are hard to keep track before 1975, we'll play a different number game.
Okay.
12 Angry Men received several nominations by the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences. How many Oscars did the 1957's 12 Angry Men actually win? Since there were 12 jurors, let's keep the guesses to under 12.
All right. Let's start with Ken. What's your guess?
No, I already looked. I looked up the details of this movie already. Not the box office, but I happened to see what.
Okay, you're out.
Okay. You recuse yourself.
I recuse myself.
All right, let's get him out.
All right. Ashley, how about you?
You're gonna have to recuse me too because I know too.
Out with her too.
All right. I likewise have to recuse myself.
Oh wow!
This is not
we need a
really
new
trivia.
You need a whole new jury at this point.
So we will rely on chat. What do you guys say? So we have Geek Devotions with 7, Dale with 0, Darth Bradius with 1, Suede Knight Baba with 1, D Tungsten with 4. So those are some awesome guesses, guys. Paul, where did it actually end up with? Oh, and Flux Joe Justello. I'll just call you Flux. Wait, Flux, this is your movie, Flux, right? Are you I'm getting you totally confused. I think this is you, Flux, from our patron pick, Flux, or am I completely off? I think it is. Thank you for picking this movie. Maybe. It is Flux. Okay. So if you enjoyed this review or you dislike this review, send your angry emails to Flux at Retro. No, okay.
He's the patron that picked this for us to review. So thank you to all the patrons and for picking this.
Absolutely. All right. So Paul, how many Oscars did it actually win?
So 12 Angry Men was actually nominated for 3, it being for Best Picture, Best Director, and Best Adapted Screenplay. But it actually only won 0. So Dale wins. It didn't win any.
What was interesting, I thought, was Henry Fonda was one of the producers, and so his name was listed under nominations for Best Picture.
Oh, okay.
Correct.
Kind of throws you off a little bit. Like, why is he listed there?
Yeah,
he wasn't the best actor, but was one of the producers.
Yeah, because the producers get the Best Picture.
I was shocked that it won nothing.
Correct.
Makes you wonder what other movies happened in that year that he won. Or
that one was On the River Kwai won all those.
River Kwai, David Lee.
Or Bridge over the. What is it?
Is Bridge over the River Kwai.
That's
Obi-Wan Kenobi winning the Best Actor.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's one I've never seen. So
it's a good movie. Yeah.
And if someone would like to join our patronage and request us to review it,
that's how you do it.
Well, I'm glad Flux picked 12 Angry Men. It's a good movie to pick.
Yes, much better than Chariots of Fire. Who picked that one?
What? There were no chariots. There was no fire. 0 stars.
Ken, thank you for the death stare you're giving me. We're having some fun at Ken's expense because he actually picked Chariots of Fire. But let's move on. Thank you for those factoids, Paul. And let's see if any of them factor into our memory mind meld or subsequent roundtable discussion, which we'll get into once Alice has located our target film. And just for those of you watching on the stream, unfortunately, for whatever reason, it's not working in a way for you to be able to hear the. Tell me if I'm wrong, but you won't probably be able to hear this the trailer. But here we go. Regardless. Okay, and let me do this.
Alert. Target located. Spoilers incoming. Establishing analysis vector.
Where was I? Thursday night?
Yeah, sorry. Got it wrong.
Yeah, you know, Me TV Movie Classics. That great station is what we remember, right? Right? Maybe? No.
Right.
But regardless of where you happen to see this, when you happen to see this, what did we remember about 12 Angry Men? Let's go to our memory mind meld synopsis for this film. A trial of murder is at stake as young Mr. Lincoln tries to ensure a defendant that heaven can wait while Piglet works with the odd couples. Rain and heat in the city raise tensions while 12 angry men try to rationalize an execution. Broken and shattered, one man realizes how far he is from his son, while one man playing a silly game of Let's Suppose changes everyone's mind. Okay. I don't know what this heaven can wait stuff was. And who's this
Henry
Piglet
Fonda
guy?
was young Mr. Lincoln.
Oh.
Jack Warden was with what's his name in Heaven Can Wait. What's the guy's name? Sister brother to Shirley MacLaine. Well, I can't forget his name all of a sudden, you know. And John Fiedler was Piglet.
Regardless, I think we were deceptive.
You guys, I don't know, right? The hate chariots of fire. Don't know those things. I'm out of here. So.
Please stay, Ken. We appreciate your opinion.
You've already been ejected at least once.
Oh,
Don't make us.
Yeah, it's true.
But
I was lost in space for a little bit there too. Remember?
Cue the music.
Oh my word! It will be interesting. We haven't predicted Francisco. Oh my gosh! Edna mode again.
What?
Woohoo!
Edna mode.
So many. Yeah, exactly. Colonel Mustard in the room with the candlestick. Nah, bro. It's Miss Scarlet. Yeah, of course. So everyone knows it's Miss Scarlet.
All right.
The jurors...
Let's do over. Monday night.
All right.
Where are we?
I know where we are. End of Edna
Okay.
mode. So based on those memories, as flawed as they were, what terrain did they lead you to predict for this film before you either watched it for the first time, and let us know if that's the case. I know it's the case for two of us, or watched it, rewatched it. So let us know your prediction, and also when was the first time you watched this film? Let's start with Ken. When did you first see this, and what was your prediction?
My prediction was classic. My first time. You know, one of the things I was doing at one point, this is kind of old school, you know, you go to the local library
Oh, yeah.
and you can borrow a local VHS tape.
They had
bring it home to
VHSs?
watch it in your VCR.
Oh, wow.
I liked watching old movies. I don't know if this was one of them, but I think I saw it back then. Just probably watching it a couple days ago with my wife. So third time I think in my life I've seen it.
Okay, very cool. And then let's go with Ashley next.
Wait, what did you predict, Ken? I
Classic.
got lost in your story time. Okay.
Got lost in story time.
It was classic. Ashley, how about you?
Okay.
Okay, this was actually the first time I've ever seen this movie. I've heard the title before, but I had no context for it. So I saw it for the first time on Sunday night, just based on what I speculated with it generally being regarded as a good film because it makes a lot of like top 100 lists and whatnot. Roger Ebert loves this movie, so I assumed it was going to be somewhere in a classic, but since I have no context for it, I just went with nostalgic.
Okay, that's totally fair. Paul, how about yourself?
The first time I saw it, it was either required or suggested. I think it was required viewing back in college for a debate class that I took.
Oh.
So that was about 25 years ago. And I remember liking it back then. Not like the best movie ever, but being impressed. And I haven't seen it since, but I gave it, I'm giving it a hopeful classic. Prediction.
All right. And much like Ashley, I only recently saw this a few days ago for the first time. And it's always been one of those where I knew I should see it because, like Ashley said, it's on all these top lists. Lots of people love it. I was never like, man, I really need to see this movie. But with it being so highly regarded, I was willing to give it a shot and predict classic. So it has a high bar to hit. So we'll see if
your expectations might have been a little too high. We'll see.
Possible. But it'll be interesting to see if our predictions for 12 Angry Men come true. But first, let's get into what we liked most about this film. I'll spin up our
Best bits.
Our best bits of 12 Angry Men. And let's start with Ashley. What's one thing you liked about this film?
Oh my gosh, where do I start? I really loved Henry Fonda. I loved that he was leading the charge for Reasonable Doubt and asking questions of the jury instead of just going along with the crowd, actually having a conversation with everybody instead of simply saying, yeah, let's send the kid to death. It's all good. There's nothing. Let's not question anything. Let's just go with everything that's been given to us and just like let him die. But you know, he had some humility there, saying, hey, I don't know that I have all the answers. We should probably have a discussion before just going along with the charge.
Yeah,
and he was very convincing and charismatic. I've liked him in other movies that he's been in, and he had me sold from the minute he opened his mouth.
He's also, I mean, I agree. He was totally good. He's also the one that made all the Model Ts, right?
The Henry Ford dude?
Yeah, the same guy.
Yeah.
Henry Fonda. Henry Ford.
Well, one wears a hat.
You know,
font.
some jokes work and
No, that's
others
Fedora.
just don't.
Sorry.
But I'm glad you took the shot.
He may not have won any awards with this movie, but you know, he did right before he died, so
Oh, what did he win before
on
he
Golden,
died?
he won the best
On Golden
Oscar for
Pond.
On Golden Pond. It was
Oh.
his last role.
You know what?
So he finally got it.
Golden Pond beat Chariots of Fire.
No. Tears of Fire won Best Movie.
Oh, did it? What then? What am
won
I
best-
thinking?
he won-
Oh no, you're right. It beat On Golden Pond. That's right. We had this whole like
You asked
discussion.
me, and I said, whether movie I go On Golden Pond. I mean, I loved On Golden Pond. It was a great movie. Henry Fonda, Katharine Hepburn. Holy mackerel, okay? What a movie. Sorry.
Wait, the guy who created the Model T won the Oscar?
Yes, Paul. Absolutely.
Okay.
He's
No,
a timeless actor.
I'm being ridiculous about that. But yeah, that's a great pick, Ashley. I'm curious, Ken, was Henry Fonda or one of the other jurors something you really liked in this film?
What I liked was the way I think this original movie, the original was a courtroom drama on television. It was not a stage play, but still, I think the way they did it back in 1954 on, they kind of a stage. I liked the way the director made it a stage production.
Yeah.
There was a scene. There were several things that got me. I love the long shots, the fact that the camera kept moving along, and people just acting. Like, I mean, you're on a stage. Most actors will just the whole 2 hours are doing a movie, and it might be mistakes, right? But you kind of ad-lib it. I loved the scene when that one guy started going off on a racist rant, and they were all sitting at the table, and the guy next to him got up. He goes, "Where are you going?" He only moved to the side of the room. Like, he didn't go very far. Every single one got up and moved to somewhere else in the room.
Yeah,
I love the staging of it. And then he got up, he moved toward the camera, sat down. Everybody else started going back to the table. Now he's ostracized on the outside. That staging I thought was really cool. And the long shots. In fact, the way it was done as a stage play, even though it was never original stage play, in the movie. That I loved.
Yeah. I'll comment. It didn't make my like list, but I thought it was interesting when I was reading through the trivia, and some of you may know this already, but apparently as the movie starts, most of the shots are overhead to like have you're sort of detached from everyone, and then it goes to sort of eye level as we're working toward, and then it's sort of looking up at all the characters. Almost, to me, that almost gives a sense of like, oh, they're actually thinking correctly, and like we should look to them for like, oh, this is the right way to go. So I don't know.
I just thought it was a cameraman getting tired as the film went
He's
on.
falling asleep.
How long is this taking? Jeez.
No, that's a good point, Francis, because at the end, you also started having actual close-ups of faces.
Yes.
Okay?
Well, I'll
and
talk
that was
about
also
that
true.
a little
It
bit
became very detached to actually being really okay, so that's a good point. Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's the part I loved about that. I thought that was really good.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with one of the characters I really liked, going in sort of that theme. Well, not really a theme. Similar to Ashley, one of the characters I really gravitated toward was Juror 1. I had such sympathy for this guy trying to herd cats that wanted to do other things. Man, it just reminds me of like every other week I seem to be in the same boat.
Is that because
For
you're
what?
watching Firefly and you
No!
relate
Oh
with
my
Mal?
gosh. It's because I'm doing this podcast.
You're not a jury.
Oh.
Oh, you mean when you stream and all your people on stream are like hurting all your viewers as cats? Really? Okay. Wow. Okay.
Not talking about them. Oh my gosh, I'm talking about what I'm experiencing right now.
But-
We're at now.
You're not in charge of us having to come to a deliberation.
Yes, I am.
No one's life is on the line.
Well, that's true, but
Or is
Ding
it?
ding. I want chicken. I want liver. Meow mix, please deliver.
because hurting cats. Okay.
Fantastic.
Oh.
My.
Okay.
I was like, what does this have to do with anything? But then I
Okay,
got it.
foreman of the jury.
That's right.
Juror number 1.
I am juror number 1. Paul,
Oh,
let's.
but no, wait, Francisco.
Yeah.
I like when you talk about that juror number 1, right? You, very beginning also, right? You could see the actor looked like he was acting nervous.
Yeah. Oh,
Like,
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
in charge. I want to do this right. You know, he's like, just the way his as you see as it goes on, right, gets more comfortable in the role. But at first, he's like, you tell he's definitely like, all right, I'm the foreman, but I mean, I'm trying to do the right thing. I'm just his whole demeanor was cool too. Again, that's
Absolutely.
you know,
Yeah. And I'll talk more about that here in a bit. I think something very similar to that. But Paul, what's your first like for 12 Angry Men?
And speaking of the cast, I thought the wide variety of characters were interesting, and as it went on, we got to know each one a little bit more and their perspectives. But just each character I thought was interesting. At first, I didn't think it was interesting, but as it revealed, it got more.
That's actually my second like, Paul. So I'll just add to that. I just thought having each juror so different adds so much greater depth, and you don't usually get so many characters in the movie, especially at this length, with so many facets. I felt like, well, maybe they don't have all these.
Those are in the back room through the men's door. Facets.
Facets, yeah.
Not faucets, Paul.
But
Okay, sorry.
they're not just they have their stereotypes to them, but they're more than that, and you see more of each one in different ways. And I just thought that was fantastic. So that is my second like. Oh,
it's no, I'm saying well, they kind of walked all in, right? You know, not all of them wear a coat, okay, but most of them wear a coat and a tie. You know, several were not, and you can tell right there, okay. But as they took their coats off, and as time went on, I mean, you can think about these 12 angry men. I know, you know, like my wife made the same comment about the where are the women, right? But you know, it's all 12 angry men. The other thing was they looked all white, except of course one of the guys either Italian or Greek, right? And you're like, but you found that they were not as monolithic. You think maybe that's the whole point. I mean, you've got your Touch 57, 12 angry men, 12 angry white men, but it wasn't. It was like they all had different viewpoints, and you saw as they went along, they come from different stages of life, experiences, and that also drove that while they were monolithic in their race, they were not monolithic in their views of life and society and all kind of stuff.
Exactly.
They sure were all easily swayed, though.
Where they were willing to listen to the facts.
I think that's
debatable. Let's have our own view. Come on.
Oh my gosh. So that was my second like. Let's go back to Ashley. What's your second like for this film?
Well, we are not a hung jury because that was also my second like.
Okay, that's fine.
Just the diversity of the ages, the backgrounds, the experiences of this journey of these jurors. Just seeing them come in and they kind of all look very similar. You're not really expecting a whole lot. You just think that they're going to all think the same. And right out the gate, when they all but one voted the same way, you're like, okay, well, what's going to happen? Who's going to be the one to stir the pot? And it was just cool to see as we got to know them, just how vastly different their thoughts and experiences were.
Yeah.
And some were parents, some were not, some were slightly younger and grew up in different backgrounds. It was just a really cool experience to see how much diversity there was, even with a fairly homogenous group.
Absolutely, yeah.
So this is the first time you guys saw this movie. Did you guys know the outcome before going in?
No,
No,
I didn't.
Absolutely not.
You had no clue that in the end they would turn around, go from 11 to 1 to 1 to 11.
I think I had a sense that
That's good.
one of them was going to be like at the start, one of them was going to say not guilty. Otherwise, you don't really have much of a movie.
Yeah, your movie would be over too fast.
Okay, no, that's good. That's good. I mean, I've seen it before. That's why I knew the outcome, but that's good.
I didn't want to spoil myself.
Yeah, nor I.
Good.
Yeah.
So, Ken, why don't you spoil us to
Hung
another
jury
thing you
because
liked?
that was not one of my likes. Okay,
Oh, okay.
so
All right.
so it's kind of an interesting thing, right? At the very end of the movie, the man, that last guy, Lee J. Cobb, right? That the actor's character, he was shattered. Okay.
Yeah.
He was just there. Everyone's leaving. Okay. And then Henry Fonda goes to the camera's over there. Henry Fonda goes to the coat rack, gets this guy's coat, and comes over, helps put it on.
Yeah.
It was just one of those things where, like, helping him with the coat at the end was like, that was a really cool moment. I liked it because it kind of trans the fact that, it wasn't supposed to be what we, one, showing the humanity of Fonda's character to that, you lost your son. 2 years he's not seen his son, right? And it's like one of those things. And the fact that guy is like shattered now, but also the fact that, we're humans and, I was not your enemy or antagonist. I was your like part of the jury type of thing. I just like that part.
Yeah, it definitely showed that. Excuse me. He wasn't trying to. It wasn't like a gloating thing. I think it could have gone that way. I suppose if Henry Fonda, the character of juror number 8, was more of like just in it to win it, but it wasn't that. It was just like this. Right. Yeah, we're all.
That would have been funny. As he's crouched down, as everyone left, and it's just him too, and he bends down right in his face and goes. And leaves.
Wow. Paul, why don't you tell us something that you actually thought was fun or you liked about this film?
I liked the way the knife scene built up.
Yes.
Because they presented it in a way like, okay, this is like a one-of-a-kind knife. It was, here's all these scenarios, and it's like, okay, this proves it. And then juror number 8 pulls out the exact same kind of knife, disproving it.
Yep.
And it was like, oh wow, that's cool. But now, granted, it's illegal for him to do his own investigation, and it would have been thrown out.
Or
that is
even buying that knife. He said,
right.
More on that later.
Yes, exactly.
Right. And I have more on that later. But if you minus that part, I just thought it was a cool way to present this one part and then totally reverse it right after. But I thought it was
absolutely
good. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, let's talk about the most awesome parts. Our classic makers for this film. Ken, kick us off.
The cast. Absolutely the cast. I mean, Henry Fonda is a great actor, period. Okay. The fact that I was looking at this, I mean, every generation of actors, you find them in multiple, TV shows and movies, right? You look at everybody. I don't know the old man, the 73-year-old guy, right? He was actually 73. The old man was, in his 70s, but Jack Warden from Heaven Can Wait, other stuff, right? Jack Klugman from The Odd Couple, right? John Fiedler, who's Piglet, okay? E.G. Marshall, it's just all, and then
these are all our patron supporters, right? Do we have that part now? No.
Yes, their estates can support our show, sure.
It's the classic. It's just the wonderful cast of all the actors who did that show. Okay, it's just the cast.
Yeah. And Baba says Fiedler was also in the film version of The Odd Couple. So,
I don't remember that. Okay.
Yeah, but the cast, I totally agree with you. It didn't make my classic maker, but I mean, that was one of my likes, was just all the different jurors. And we wouldn't have had those depth of characters without the actors that played them.
Yeah. That's right.
Let's go to Ashley next. What's your classic maker for 12 Angry Men?
Oh, of course. So my classic maker was just how the story progressed, where it started and ultimately where it ended. How you had this very loose thread with juror number 8, and slowly but surely, as there were more conversations happening, the thread got pulled a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more until it completely unraveled with the defeated. Was he juror number 10?
Henry Fonda was juror 8.
No. I'm talking about the one that was just like the one who had separation from his son. I want to say
3.
He was 3. Okay, until juror number 3 was like not guilty, and he was just broken. He was broken at that point. But just to see, they slowly turned with each line of discussion how it became more and more likely that this kid probably didn't do it. And they were like, unless we're 100% sure, we're going to be the one that sends this kid to the chair. And just seeing where it started and where it ultimately ended. And it was such a short movie, but the fact that so much was able to happen in such a tight time frame.
Yes.
And I just loved how it started and how that reasonable doubt became more and more and more and more until everyone was finally in agreement. It was
that's a good point, because like E.G. Marshall's character was the Wall Street guy, and he was adamant. He had the facts. He was facts, knowledge, logic, right?
I liked him so much. Yes.
And the old man's like, "What are you doing? Like, what?" Like the pinched nose thing. It's like, and he's like, he was like, not guilty. Why? Reasonable doubt. I'm like that threw him, because I saw the same thing. You're right. How could it was I'm kind of highlighting what you just said and just back to the other character, but
little by little.
Absolutely.
Just little by little.
Yes. I will comment real quick, just since you said that moment of Juror 3 being broken at the end. That honestly brought a tear to my eye. I was just like so torn up for him that he just had all this
especially
hate.
as a dad.
Yeah, that's all this hate that came out because of his estranged son, and I think if it broke him that was what he was wanting to be. That's what he was jurying. That's what was on trial in his mind, not this kid. This kid was like a placeholder for him. So, and that he couldn't. He finally broke past that. So it's just a beautiful, heartbreaking moment.
But similar to that guy who was the racist, or at least he was like all them types,
Oh yeah.
And at first everyone was kind of agreeing, but the way he went off and ranting about it, right? And he also got ostracized, pushed to the side, right? Because like they were like trying that he had his thing he was trying to get, to punish, might say,
Yeah, that was Ed Begley, right? Juror number 10?
Was it? Yeah,
I think he was 10. Yeah. 11 was the guy with the glasses that was like the advertiser. Anyway, oh no, he was 12. What? Regardless, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So
12 was that guy. 11 was the Italian Greek. Was he Italian?
That's right.
Greek?
Yes. Yeah. I think I would say Italian, but maybe it was Greek.
He felt Italian.
Regardless, Paul, what's your classic maker for this film?
I'm just curious what Italians feel like after Ashley's comment.
I mean, kind of like spaghetti and sauce, I think.
All right. Yeah, just stick your hands in. All right. Sorry, what are we on? Classic
Ashley
makers?
is
I'm
like,
sorry.
Are you a quarter Italian, Ashley?
Yeah, I'm a quarter Italian.
Yeah, so
my grandfather was first generation. So my great grandparents, actually, my great grandparents.
I was born in Italy, so I'm Italian adjacent.
Exactly. Paul, but more seriously, what is your classic maker for 12 Angry Men?
All right. Well, actually, it lines up with Ashley in that it's. I thought it was an interesting premise to go like what Ashley was saying. It's kind of like 10 Little Indians. You all have like a group, but it's like one by one they each go down and change their view. And I just thought it was an interesting story and premise. That was the best part.
Yeah. And for my classic maker, it's similar to those, but a little more specific was all the, I guess, self-owns, I'll say, of juror number 3. I think Lee Cobb's
all the
character.
cell phones?
Not cell phones, self-owns.
Yeah.
So here
the way you pronounce cell phone is...
I understood him.
Okay, so for example... he's going off about how the old man is he heard him, and then at the end, juror 8, Henry Fonda essentially baits him into saying, "Oh, he's an old man. What does he know?" And he juror 8, Henry Fonda gives him this knowing look, and he's like, "Oh crap!" Right? I was just saying how we gotta rely on him, and what does he know? So that's a self-own, and in another instance where
you got me moment.
Well, he got himself moment. He got me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And then the other moment where Henry Fonda gets him so worked up that he's like, "I'll kill you. I kill you." And then Henry Fonda's like, "Now you wouldn't really kill me, would you?" Because they had that whole interchange before about
which annoys me because if I say it, I mean it.
Oh well, okay, but that's not. I think you're a special case in that.
So. Yeah, or am I? You're gonna impose your beliefs on others. That's very egocentric and that's not very open-minded, which you're supposed to be in this kind of movie scenario. It's one of its flaws, in my opinion. But we're not on my opinion. So on to your cell phones.
1957, yeah, great cell phones. The Nokias and Ericssons were great. It was fantastic.
All right, cool.
owns is what was my
All
class
right.
maker.
So when
Oh
you
my
sell your own,
oh my gosh. What's another word for it? I can't think of what else you would call that, but
you got me.
I guess, sure. But when you do it to yourself, that's a little different.
Yeah. You step in the trap yourself.
Yes.
I guess. All right.
Regardless, lots of things to like about 12 Angry Men. But there's probably some stuff we didn't so much like.
I
so
like all 12 of those angry men.
Okay, well, something though. Oh, you know what? Speaking of the 12 Angry Men that we liked all of them, there's something else I liked, guys. And that would be the Rushmore Show. The Rushmore Show is the place for ranking the ultimate top 4 in sports, video games, nostalgia, movies, and so much more. Each week, Andy and Kirk spark engaging discussions and friendly debates, making the Rushmore Show your compass in the realm of pop culture rankings. Find them at youtube.com/The Rushmore Show, where it's all about your top 4 and nothing more.
So, did they do like a top 4 cell phones or something? Like, what does that have to do with what we're talking about?
Well, I mean, this is like at the top of lots of people's ranking lists, and they do essentially ranking lists of 4. So,
can I ask a question though?
Oh, sure.
Have they done any ranking of like courtroom procedurals or like crime dramas or anything?
You know
like
what?
that?
I'm sure they've done crime movies, top crime movies. So that's kind of like this.
Yeah, but you're pulling on a loose thread.
So, well, let's see.
It's
My
gonna
cousin
unravel.
Vinny. I'm trying to think.
There's
a
a
few good men.
others.
A few good men.
A few good men.
You know.
That's a good one. I'm sure there's a few others
The
in there.
Firm,
like what?
Maybe.
What's that one where Matthew McConaughey he does like a
Verdict.
courtroom one?
The Lincoln Lawyer?
Maybe Lincoln Lawyer. Maybe it's Mississippi.
I
something.
mean, hey, there's even courtroom proceroral and Legally Blonde. There's courtroom
Yeah,
in
there you
Yeah,
go.
Legally
Legally
Blonde.
Blonde. There you go.
That would be in my top 4.
All right.
That's great trivia, Francisco, but we're not there yet.
No, we're not.
It's your line. Sorry for stepping all over that.
No, it's okay. So, you know what? It doesn't really have a lot to do with 12 Angry Men. So, you know what? To repay the criminal justice system, why don't I give you guys some trivia about this film? Is that okay?
Sure.
Sure.
About cell
Why
phones?
not?
No,
Do we
about
have a
12 Angry
choice
Men,
in the matter?
PaulJPowers.com.
Oh, you sound like
Wait,
one of them.
Let me get the bailiff. Bailiff, can we have the list?
Yeah, and their cell phones.
You're certainly becoming one of those angry men. Jeez.
Here it is, guys. Some trivia from the bailiff. Did you all realize director Sidney Lumet, I'm not sure either, had the actors all stay in the same room for several hours on end to do their lines over and over without filming them?
It's called rehearsal.
This was to give them a real taste of what it would be like to be cooped up in the room with the same people.
Yeah.
With that in mind, I'm curious for you guys, what's a room you had to stay in the longest? Like one room you had to stay in there. Maybe you could go out for bathroom breaks, but you're in this one room the longest in your whole life. And like, how long was that? Let's begin with Paul.
I don't know. I guess my office. The only thing that I can think off the top of my head, well, I doubt this is it, but off the top of my head is actually this room I'm in now. I also use it as my work office because I work remotely, and sometimes I've worked 16 or 18 hours a day. So, and it's kind of
okay.
a small
How
room.
about? I mean, if you can't think of another one off the top of your head that's not your home, then
it's not my home.
yeah.
How about in the office where I work sometimes 10 or 12?
All right. No, I'll give you that. Dale says jury selection room. Darth Brady says Oklahoma. I don't know if that counts a state. It's not a room.
Unless it's the production of Oklahoma.
Oh, maybe,
It's like
yeah.
tech. You spend a lot of time in those spaces.
Yeah.
Oklahoma, where the wind keeps typing down the plane.
Let's go to Ken next. How about you?
So, it's funny. PaulJPowers.com. Woohoo! It's like My first thought was going to be at work. I was a value stream mapping exercise in a conference room somewhere for been like 8 hours, whatever it's right. But I have done streams here from my desk, like a 24-hour stream. I call the longest in one spot, one time with minimal bathroom breaks. One thing, but that doesn't count when you're in your own home a little bit.
Yeah.
Get to the point about being someplace where you're not comfortable. You can't just like go and lie down somewhere or just turn the stream off. So I think like at work, going in, not just at work at my desk, but going to a conference room and work with other people for a value stream mapping.
Yeah, I've been on an airplane for 18 hours. Does that count?
Oh yeah, that's actually a good one.
Yeah,
airplane. Yeah. And Ashley.
Well, since I can't use an example from home, I think the next best example is during college, we did this charity walk called the Relay for Life. It was a fundraiser for the American Cancer Society.
Yeah.
And I was the captain of my dorm team, and it was like a 12-hour event. We had to have someone on the truck. So we were in a field house from 7 p.m. until 7 a.m. And that was such a long time to be awake because I was not even a night owl in college. So that was hard, and it was in a field house. It was super loud. It was in the fall. It was cold. High energy, and it was just a very, very long night.
Wow.
What's a field house? Is that where the field mice live?
Sure.
Okay.
A house in the field, maybe. I don't know.
Well,
Yeah, I don't know. Is that like different than a barn? I don't know.
No, a field house. It was an indoor track. It's one of the many buildings where the sports teams would practice.
I was about to say, it sounds like an indoor gymnasium.
It kind of is, but we refer to it as the field house. I went to college in upstate New York, and the event happened in October. And October in upstate New York, you're lucky if it's like 40 degrees in the daytime. 50 degrees in the daytime.
Is it usually colder or warmer?
It cold. It's cold. Let's just say it can snow in October in upstate New York. So
yeah, well, definitely. They have cold winters up there.
Yeah, and it was in the evening until the very wee hours of the morning, and it was just it was only 12 hours, but it felt like it was so much longer because I was so tired.
Kind of like this podcast.
Oh my God.
I wouldn't go that far. I wouldn't go that far.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Not as long as this podcast.
Check back
then.
with me in like an hour or two.
We're only an hour in right now. My
Are
goodness.
we?
Yes. Well, yes. I mean, but
According to the
that's
timestamp on Twitch, it says 56 minutes.
endemos and whatnots.
Okay.
But yeah. Okay. Awesome, guys. Thank you.
Great.
What about you?
Great trivia, Francisco. What about you?
I
Because I want to make this podcast longer.
Probably an airplane when I flew to Japan. That is a long flight. Yeah.
Yeah, that is a long flight. So, great trivia. Now that we've all had some trivial fun, let's find out what memories you, the Rad Rewinders, had about men that are angry. Let's count them, 12 of them.
All right. So there's 3 comments, and we were really wow. Maybe we'll read each one 4 times for 12 comments. No.
Only if
First
they're
off,
angry comment.
Kevin Joshua Burnham says, one of my favorite films ever made, a true masterclass in filmmaking and screenwriting.
Not angry enough. Get them out.
Oh, jeez.
All right.
On to the next one.
Wardell White says, saw this one for the first time in school. Can't remember if it was in English or civics. Either way, I like this movie. From Henry Fonda to Dr. Quincy, I mean, Jack Klugman to Piglet, excuse me again, John Fielder. I thought all actors did a fine job.
Awesome. And Jeremy Shields says, this is on my list for movies to watch for watching movies with my pastor, which is a podcast Jeremy does. I've never seen it before. A true classic. How do you know if you haven't seen it before?
It's an educated wish, husband.
I guess.
I guess that's what makes it true.
I suppose so.
I don't know.
But regardless, thank you all for sharing your memories. None of them really kicks us into the dislike section, so we'll just kick ourselves over the dislike section. Alice?
Worst woos.
Edna mode.
Sorry, were you playing something?
Yes, but
You can
that's
replay
fine.
it if you want.
No. When it goes to those, it doesn't pick up your guys' sound.
Oh, so we can do anything we want. Okay, cool. Good to know from future.
But hold on, my Krillin little
Figure.
He
lost his head.
Oh, is that what dropped?
Yeah, that's what dropped.
He lost his head,
Oh.
guys.
I wonder if my drink knocked it over.
Yeah, I'm sure that.
I didn't realize I threw it that far.
It measured on the Richter scale, Paul.
So,
Nice.
Krillin's head. So
Still a good Christmas gift.
Yes.
Even if he's headless most of the time.
oh, there is another part missing, but I'm not gonna look for it right now. Okay.
Oh, Flux. That's a great question. I want to ask at the end of the podcast.
I had seen the new one first. Was on TV. Enjoyed it. Well, new. When I saw the original question, does anyone think the kid is guilty? Ooh. Okay. Yeah.
If we by the end of this, we'll see how would we vote right
okay.
now.
Yeah. That's a good question.
Yeah. Good point. Yeah.
Yeah, keep it going.
All right, but let's get to dislikes because I would like to. Let me write down a note so I don't forget that. Ask if we think kid is guilty. Guilty. General Zod, you are guilty. Okay. Anyway, are you good, Paul? Or are you still? Oh, not yet. Okay. Let me know when you're ready, Paul. Are you ready now, Paul?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so let's get into our worst woes, the things we disliked about. I'm glad you're ready, Darth Baratheus. The things we disliked about 12 Angry Men. Let's begin with, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and kick us off with this. Don't play the sound, Paul. Dang it! Ah, darn it. And this is like some technical. This is like very technical stuff. Both of them having to.
Technical stuff bothered me too, but it didn't make my list. So thank you.
Okay, so two of these have to do with Henry Fonda. First off, and some of you commented on this. I think this is more a product of the time, so I'm willing to forgive it. That's why I'm coupling it with another dislike. But how is it that he gets a knife into a courthouse? They don't do any pat downs or anything.
They trust
1957.
everybody. They trust everybody. If you're
There is no
57?
metal detectors.
I knew there wouldn't be metal detectors.
probably
Yeah,
not
but-
even armed
right.
guards. You have your bailiffs, and that's probably it.
Jeez.
It's a trusting system. If you're
This
not in
was-
cuffs, we can trust you.
This was before society got way wacko.
I guess so. My
Indeed.
goodness.
If you're wearing a suit and you're smiling, you're probably trustworthy, right?
Then my second that I'll couple with this is, I guess it's less Henry Fonda and more Piglet.
I mean, they even he didn't even have to bring in the knife. The fact that they're able to manhandle the evidence of the
that's
was a
another
knife.
thing. Yes.
Yeah.
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 But I think it's this is an error that didn't have to be there, and that's when he's doing his awesome example, which is a great thing to prove that the old man getting up from his bed, walking over to the door, how long it took, that it wasn't just 15 seconds, it's 41 seconds. But if you time it on the movie and it's in real time, it's 31 seconds. So
Oh, really?
come on, just say it's 31 seconds. That's still more than 15, or time it out to be 41 seconds. I don't know who they think they're fooling here.
Maybe it's a cut.
No, there isn't a cut. I watched it.
Was
There's
it
no
cut?
cut.
Watched it.
How many times did you watch it for analysis' sake?
Well, I watched it the first time through. Then I'm like, I'm curious if that, because whenever there's
He
time
timed
things
it.
like that, I always like to see, did they really match it up? Because I always think that's great if they do match it
No,
up.
that's a good point. You know,
And they didn't, and there's no reason not to have. So
Yeah.
that's the part that bothered me.
I
So
applaud you for that one, Francis. Good job for finding that.
thank you, Paul. Okay, that's my first dislike. Let's go to Ashley next. What's something you disliked about this film?
Well, I didn't like how early in the film, how everyone was just sold to send this kid to the chair.
Well, yeah.
That they just took everything that was presented to them and go, gee willikers, they did such a good job at presenting an open and shut case. The kid has to be guilty because look at all this evidence. I'm not going to think for myself or question anything. So I'm just going to vote not guilty because I've got tickets to a baseball game, or I don't want to be here. Gee, it's hot. I don't want to be in this stuffy room. They were not.
Have you ever served on a jury before?
I've never served on a jury before.
Okay.
I went
That's
through
telling.
jury selection, and that was a
Yeah.
very long day. And I understand understand no person's time is valuable than the other, but someone's life was on the line. And the fact that they weren't even willing to deliberate, they wanted to take a vote and be done.
Wasn't that the point of the movie?
No, I
But
understand
they were
that.
willing to jump
The
into it,
thing
and
is
as
they
you went through the whole thing, there wasn't an open closed case. Like Jack Warden's character says, "You can say all you want, you'll never convince me." And he's like halfway through, he's like, "I'm not guilty now." You know, it's like,
Well, go ahead. But so you understand, Ashley, that is the premise.
No,
but go
I
ahead.
understand that that's the premise, but the fact
okay.
that we had 11 out of 12 just right out the gate.
Yeah.
Right out the
they
gate.
had seen evidence for 6 days, right? If I remember right, they were in the court for 6 days.
So
with
yes,
all the
that
evidence.
is the premise that has been set. But the
Right.
fact that there's this young man, he's not even 18. It's likely his first offense. Yes, you can.
No, it's not.
No, he had other
Okay,
offenses.
he may have had other offenses.
offenses.
That's neither here nor there. But the fact that this is this young
Oh, then
man,
why'd you bring it up? Never
because
mind,
I
continue.
misremember things, just like we all do,
That's
because we're human. But they are struggling to see the humanity of this victim, this person who's being charged with this crime, and the fact
He
that they're
is
just
not
ready.
the victim. The dad is the
I'm
victim.
just no. I'm just saying anyone who's going through this is being victimized by the court system. It's a hard place to be. You're going through it. You're going through it.
American victim of the system. I get it. Anti-American.
But
right here.
what I'm saying is the fact that they are just ready to send him to the chair. It doesn't matter. We're not even going to have a conversation. They've presented all of this. I'm good right out the gate until Henry Fonda opens his mouth and goes, well, wait a second. Shouldn't we at least talk about this? The fact that they were ready right at the gate. And I get that that's the whole premise, but
It so bothers you that was happening.
It bothers me just how easily they were ready to just send this kid to his death.
Yeah.
well, that's good. I'm glad you were bothered about how easy they were to,
Yeah, especially if that makes you self-reflective. Like if you're in that same situation, it's like, yeah, I don't want to be like these guys.
It's just saying like, okay, I just want to be out of here. We've already been here 6 days listening to this trial. I want to be done with this as soon as possible. But what if one of them were in a similar predicament?
Yeah.
What if they were facing death?
Absolutely.
And you
that
would
was
hope
mentioned. Yeah.
you would hope that your jury would actually take the time and have a conversation to be like, okay, let's do this vote. Who thinks he's guilty? All the ayes have it. Everybody says aye, and then you're done, and there's not even a conversation.
Yeah, I feel like I'll just make a little bit of.
It rattled me.
I'll take a moment for just slight amount of commentary. I feel like where we're at now in 2025, it's swung too much the other way, where jurors don't want to like have any sort of like anyone condemn them if it's like a very touchy case, and so they'll just say not guilty, just so they like, well, wash my hands of it. I said he could go free or she could go free.
Yeah, you can't go in the opposite direction.
I know.
Though,
Yeah,
You need to come with as much of an open mind. Look at the evidence as it's presented, but don't just be ready to basically be the judge and jury and just be like, let's just send the kid to the chair.
Yeah.
We don't even need to have a conversation.
It's funny. I absolutely 100% agree with you. That's the whole point about being a juror. That's why they don't like me as an engineer. I'm too analytical, right? Not emotional.
They wouldn't
But that
like
to me was
either.
also, but one of the pluses of the movie was that the whole point they were out of the gate, ready to do that, and one person said no, and they were forced to think about it. And I hope that the audience who's watching it going, wait a minute, when I'm on a jury, I need to be thinking about it because I could be on the other side.
Yeah, instead of just going along with it.
It's almost like at the beginning, Francisco, they all gathered around and said,
Away!
it was already decided.
It's like take everything with a grain of salt because you've got both sides. You've got the defense and you've got the prosecution, and they're both trying to convince you one way or another, but you have to weigh what's presented by both sides and not just be like, well, who talked better? Who had It's like, did they have a compelling argument? And the fact that they were just like, man, that public defender, oh man, just saying like it didn't seem like he did the greatest job defending this kid, so that's why they were just ready to go right out the gate. But at the same time, you don't find that out until later when they're actually starting to have that conversation.
Yeah, it's like I'd say I agree with you, Ash, and we're gonna move on. But I will say that it's like when you're like on a podcast, say, and everyone, there's maybe 10 other people, everyone thinks that this movie is a classic, but you're the one person that's like, guys, I think we need to think about this. This is actually a tragic because it's not even a movie. I was going
to say, though, Dale makes a great point with this one character who changes his mind. He's like, whatever it takes to get me out of here.
Yeah.
That
that's
kind
not
of
a good reason either. Yeah.
No, and it just seems like, because when they were talking about voting, it just seemed like they just wanted to get the heck out of there. They had already listened to this case for 6 days, and they're like, "Can we just wrap this up?" Especially the guy that wanted to go to the baseball game. It's like more.
Jack Gordon's character.
It sounds like your dislike is what my classic maker was, which was the premise. It starts out that they're ready to hang.
I think. Okay, I think that the problem is, much like Paul, you dislike white text on a black background just because it feels like lazy. Yeah, exactly, as he shows his shirt. But that's not really about the movie itself. That's about some aspect of the movie that's not related to the story or the actors or anything. I think this is a similar thing where the premise, it bothers Ashley, even though she understands the why
setup.
it's
I
needed.
understand the setup. I understand the setup, but I still don't have.
Bothers you.
It bothers me because it makes you wonder, like, how many court cases in actual life have been like that. People are willing to just go along with a herd mentality, be like, well, I got tickets to this show. I got tickets to this. I'm like, I just want to be done with this. I want to go back and do this, whatever. Yeah, that character with the baseball game, I wanted to just like punch him in the face.
D-Tung said, you want to hang them all? Wow. Ken, let's go to you next. Who did you want to punch in the face?
Remember, I loved about all the staging. There was some miscues, you might say. Jack Warden's character, was an example. I mean, they're in that room. There's no AC. AC exists back then, but no AC in this room. The fan wouldn't work. They opened the windows up. It was a hot day. They're all sweating. At one point, I'm like, hey, Jack is not sweating. Okay, and in the same scene,
I thought he was all sweaty.
At one point, his face was dry.
Oh.
And then when it cut over, the same scene going on, all of a sudden he's sweaty again.
Oh, okay.
And so there was a discontinuity between. I'm picturing I'll bet you these actors in room might have been warm, but also at times hang on, guys, spray them some more liquid on them, and I'm like, it's like there's a continuity thing that got me. That he was dry and then wet all of a sudden. It was a continuity issue. That's one of my dislikes.
Okay, totally fair. Paul, that sounds like a type of dislike you would have, but did something else bother you about this film?
I have several things like that, but didn't make my top 3. My number 3 is there were several.
Pause. Now all of a sudden you're a lot further away from the mic. It sounds like I don't know what happened. But, okay.
Well,
that's
I got
better.
further.
Perfect.
Further.
No, good. You're good.
No, here. All
yes.
Right. So, no, I don't know where to begin.
With your first dislike.
Okay. Do I answer the question of all these many things that bothered me, but they didn't make my dislike list, my top 3?
Just tell me what's one thing you disliked about this film, Paul.
One of the things that I disliked is that there were a few side conversations that didn't have anything to do with anybody, or at least with the plot. They had to do with the characters, but this movie's already over an hour and a half long, and it doesn't need to drag the movie any longer. Like the high school assistant football coach guy telling his story, it rained one time we were playing football, and it didn't go anywhere. It doesn't relate to the story of the kid being guilty or not. And there were several stories like that where you got to know the jurors a little bit better, but it had nothing to do with anything. And then I thought the movie dragged and went down a notch for it.
Like those elements we learned about them didn't really add to whether or not to the choice they ultimately made, and why. Okay, I could see that. Let's go. Let's see. Let's go back to Ken. What's another thing you disliked about this film? And you're muted, Ken. It looks like.
Yeah, you're muted.
Edna mode.
You muted me.
Yes, and then I unmuted you.
Me, and I didn't mute myself again. But anyways,
when I saw you finish typing your comment, I'm like, okay, he's done now. I'll unmute.
Well, I didn't mute myself anyway. So, so one of my dislikes is the era, okay, and all the smoking. I mean, as a non-smoker, I've been old enough to been.
Go ahead.
I've been in places where they had a lot of smoking, okay, growing up. But it's like I was just like holy mackerel. I know it's the era, the time,
Yeah.
Right.
but still, it's like, I mean, it's one of those things where it's like 1957, probably wouldn't have thought about it much back then, but today I'm watching and going, oh, just stop smoking already. You know?
But smoking was healthy back then. All the doctors said so.
It was
Yeah,
good
that's
for
right.
you.
Kids don't smoke.
Especially if you have that Indian wampum.
Wow. Where's that from? Why do I know that?
Move along. You can edit that out too.
Fine. All right. Fine. Let's go back to Ashley then. Did the smoking bother you, or is there something else that you wish went up in smoke?
Well, yes, the smoking bothers me, but it's a product of its time, and it definitely didn't make my list.
Mm-hmm.
Like these 12 angry white men. Sorry, go ahead.
One of the things that I really didn't like was how Henry Fonda brought in that knife and how he did his own investigation, which is illegal, by the way.
Is it?
Yes.
Yeah.
For jurors do that? Okay.
Jurors can't do that. You don't conduct your own investigation.
Maybe it wasn't
can't-
illegal before this movie.
But it just took me out of it because you can't go through your own investigations. You're supposed to just deliberate based on the information that's provided to you. Yes, you can question it. Yes, you can
based
scrutinize
on the information that's provided to you. Keep that in mind, folks. Continue.
But all I'm saying is he should have never been able to bring the knife in. He should have never been conducting all of these things on his own time. They weren't supposed to. It just takes me.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I put in my likes and my dislikes. It shows that when you think like, oh, he's proven a point. Like, it's not as cut and dry as it appears.
No, absolutely, but it just feels like he's just being a vigilante for the defense.
Right.
That's fair.
And yes, you can be passionate about wanting to make sure that whoever is going through the justice process, that they're getting the fairest outcome based on the deliberation of information, but you don't just go out and get a knife just to prove a point and be like, hey guys, look at what I got.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Though I did like how it wasn't just, hey, this is a knife that looks like the knife in evidence, that the one guy, juror, I want to say 5, was like, it's a switchblade. It's going to take too long to be stabbed down. You flick it out and cut forward.
Yeah.
And I thought, so I like that there was another sort of story use to prove the defense's point. But
that's one of the stupid things.
Why? Why is that stupid?
Because it wasn't used that way. And when you're in a fight, it may not work if you're whatever. It was used that way. And just because this kid is supposed to be like, oh, he grew up in the slums, he would know how to use a knife and he would never use it like that. You don't know who's never going to use it like what, because this was used in this way.
Yeah, but the whole point is if you're building reasonable doubt and the likelihood of this kid...
there's a dip. All right, go ahead.
The likelihood
because you're going right into my second dislike, which is they didn't explain what reasonable doubt is. They brought it up. There's a difference. What you're saying is they're building doubt, but they're not building reasonable doubt. Doubt is like a person I doubt he would do it because he might be used to doing it this way. Reasonable doubt is he would, look, I know this kid. I've seen him fight. He has never, in fact, he says he hates it when people use it this other way. Like he would never in his life ever do that. Then that's creating reasonable doubt.
To me, it was reasonable just because there's so little time when the train was passing by and all that for him to switch it out and then change the angle. I feel like that gives the person plenty of time to get away and all of that.
Okay, regardless of the train, it was used in that way.
Not that. Was that the knife that?
The body was found with a knife, right?
Yes,
right.
I think so.
And plunged down, regardless of how it was intended to be used.
I see.
That's the whole point.
Okay, I see. That's fair, Paul. If that was the only thing, then yeah, I'd say that they should have sent this kid to the chair. But it wasn't the only thing. But that sounds like that's your next dislike, you said. So go ahead.
Yeah, the fact that they bring up reasonable doubt versus doubt, and you're like, oh, do you? And he's like, oh, I know what the definition of reasonable doubt is. Well, they don't go into it for the audience to know. What is the difference between doubt and reasonable doubt, because
Yeah.
you're supposed to use reasonable doubt
Mhm.
when coming to a decision.
Mhm.
And I feel this movie laid a lot of heavy doubt, and in my head, not reasonable doubt.
Oh, okay.
So I think if they actually went into the definition, explained what reasonable doubt was, they wouldn't have a leg to stand on for this film.
So why don't you,
Me.
PaulJPowers.com Esquire, tell us what's the difference between doubt and reasonable doubt?
All right, let me get it out. Well, I didn't know I'd have to present before the court, but so give me some time to.
We'll grant you a very short recess.
Yes, while you're looking that up, I'll go into my next dislike, which is just more technical stuff. So you get two very technical things for me,
and then
technical scrutiny.
Yes.
Francisco.
So here's my other, and this is another twofer. So 2 2s. All the close-ups with people, like especially
thank
old
you
man
for bringing that up.
Old man
Yes.
juror 9. I don't need to see. It's not just the close-up. You're looking right at me into my soul. Why are you? I have no idea. It's so disconcerting, and there's no reason for it. You have all these close-ups of mainly him looking at the camera. The other close-ups were looking off to the other characters, which I can forgive more. But it's just like, why are you looking right at me here? It's just
Yes.
I've never, unless there's an artistic reason for it that I'm missing, I don't like that being used.
They want you to feel the tension, Francisco. They want you to see like they're looking down the barrel of a gun, because it's just such a tense room, and they want you to know what they're feeling, and they want you to know how gosh darn hot it is in there with all of their copious amounts of sweat and their constant handkerchief usage. The fan's not working. It's pouring out. It's bringing in more humidity. They want you to know they're suffering.
And I did know they're suffering. So much so. But here's the thing. All that stuff is great. That gives me the perfect amount of tension. I get all this tension with visuals, acting. Everyone's bringing their A game, except for the composer, who I really don't think you need at all.
Well,
the score
no.
in this is not needed. Cut it out.
That was one of my likes. Was a limited score.
No.
That it wasn't, the music wasn't helping you with the whole emotional thing. I thought a positive was that the lack of music was good, I thought.
Yes, but it needs to be more of a lack of music, as in none, because you don't need any.
None.
In fact, it took me out because there was so little. When it was there, it like, whoa, okay, now we're listening to music, old-timey radio right now. Okay, who put on the classic station? It wasn't needed at all. I had plenty of emotional resonance and rapport with these characters and understand and just how they acted and everything going on. I didn't need musical cues to help me with any of it, or unfortunately take me out of it. So that was my dislike, my second dislike. So Paul, you've had your recess.
Yes.
The judge is ready to hear your argument.
Okay, so according to my research during this very brief window I've been given, by the way, I've only really researched 2 websites, but I'll go off the main Investopedia.com, where and this is actually not the definition that I was told. So I might be changing my mind here.
Okay. All right.
It says basically, if the jury cannot say with certainty, based on the evidence presented, that the defendant is guilty, then there is reasonable doubt, and they are obligated to return a not guilty.
Oh, okay.
So if it cannot be proved without a doubt, if it cannot be proved without a doubt that the defendant is criminal, that in a criminal case is guilty, then that person should not be convicted. This is based on that everyone is presumed innocent until proven guilty. So I was told that previously reasonable doubt is not the same thing as it's like without a shadow of a doubt. Reasonable doubt is like, within reason, there's
doubt there.
There still may be doubt, but reason says okay, you have these many witnesses, these been, like the cops taking the testimony, they're also another witness, all these things counting together, reasonable. That's why at the beginning everyone was like, well, he's guilty.
Yeah.
Because generally speaking, all these things add up. But according to this definition, reasonable doubt is like with certainty, proved without a doubt. So if there is a single doubt, you have to
return not guilty.
Present the not guilty, which changes my entire viewing experience.
Yeah, totally. That's it. Thank you for looking that up, Paul. I appreciate that.
Well, thank you for making me.
I think you won your trial. Good job.
As Kennethan said, go ahead, say it for the audio people, Kennethan.
Well, it's from the reasonable doubt of the O.J. Simpson trial, right?
Oh,
Johnny Cochran said, if it doesn't fit, you must acquit.
Exactly. Well, let's go with the most doubtful things about this movie. Why we wouldn't return a classic reign. Our tragic makers for 12 Angry Men. Ken, start us off.
So, it was hard to find a tragic or at least likely. But what got me was at the very beginning.
Do you know about this part where it's 31 seconds instead of 41 seconds?
So you go into the movie, the judge is giving the orders to the jury, and the jury walks out. Oh, well, by the way, all you alternates are dismissed. And the jury goes off to the room, and the camera pans down to look at the face of the defendant. And I thought that was a mistake because...
Oh, I thought it was great because it brings in the emotional tie at the beginning.
Understand, that's the whole point. The whole point of the movie was about the logic, not emotions, and now you're seeing this young-looking kid.
Yes.
Okay. Oh my gosh, he looks doe-eyed and shell-shocked, and why am I here? Type of thing, giving you the ultimate like, oh, maybe this guy is innocent. Okay, before you even got into the jury room to say whether he isn't or not. I just didn't like the fact that they were showing the defendant's face like that. It was supposed to be all about the logic of the arguments, about the evidence. Then forget the face, okay? Because, like I said, I don't get picked. I've been on one jury trial one time, and I asked the question afterward. It was a small thing. It was like some guy was drunk while intoxicated with a drug. I don't know, some medicine he was doing, right? I asked her, whereas it's like, so why'd you pick me? He said, well, I ran out of strikes. So I'm an engineer. They want people with emotions, not with logic. Engineers are rarely picked for jury trials. They want emotion, not logic. Right. So that's what. But anyway, so look at that kid's face, like, oh my gosh, like that kid looks young and shell shocked, and how am I here, and all that kind of
stuff.
After
6 days, I mean, he still looks like that. That's weird.
Yeah.
So my guess, and I don't know if this would change your mind at all, Ken. It's fine if it doesn't, but I imagine we're supposed to juxtapose that his maybe innocent look to these people just ready to send him to the chair.
True.
And it's like, oh, that's no worries. And I think that's to be like, wait, okay, maybe I missed something. Maybe there is a reason that and they know more than I do. I think that's part of the journey, but I could see your point of like, that's not what this movie is about. So why are we focusing on this?
Well, and that part that we just said, I agree with that side of things. Like, well, if you're looking like, if you're in the movie going, who is this defendant, right? What does he look like, right? I think they didn't say what his race is, but I think they were saying he was Puerto Rican in New York in 1957. They didn't say it, okay, but he was not white, so to speak, but he wasn't black.
He is a Martian.
He's Puerto Rican. Huh?
I said he is a Martian. I'm continuing.
So you're right about the fact that, I think maybe for us as the audience, like, well, what's this kid look like? Why are you so ready to send that guy to the slammer, Maybe that's the reason. But I just thought, like, it took me, like, why are you already telling me that? I all of a sudden felt like, like, oh, this poor kid. Why are you sending him off to the death chair? It's like, okay,
Because he's a murderer.
He's a murderer, yes.
He murdered his dad in cold blood.
Ashley, what do you wish was murdered from this film?
Honestly, the pacing, how they showed the passage of time when they were deliberating in the jury room, because they didn't take a lot of time to deliberate. They said, oh, we're only going to do this until 6:00. And there was no way to convey the passage of time. They were having these conversations like, oh, it's not quite 7 yet. And it just stayed there and stayed there and stayed there.
It's like 4 or 5 or 6 hours passed, but really only an hour and a half passed.
Really?
Seemed like real
But
time.
we had no way to convey the passage of time outside
Oh.
of what they were verbally
Yeah, well, the rain.
saying. It
rain
did
was one
start.
thing, but-
Yeah, it did start raining,
Yeah.
but there was no clocks in the room they could have used that as an on-screen cue to say, oh, they've been deliberating and zooming in and out and having all these conversations.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
eventually they said, oh, we should order dinner. Oh, let's keep talking until 7. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh, it's such and such a time. And it's like, you really didn't talk about this for that long.
That's where
So-
Yeah, and if it took 6 hours to deliberate, for example, and we only saw an hour and a half, what happened for those other 4.5 hours?
Yeah.
Well, the other thing at the very end, right? They were leaving. It still looked like daylight.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But they were talking about how
They
it
spent the
was
night.
this time and they spent all this time and conveying the passage of time. I just felt like it was just
Yeah.
disjointed and all over the place, and it made it just
enough.
drag.
It was the next day because the streets
What?
weren't even wet from the rain.
Oh, so here's
Next
my
day.
confusion. I understand what you're saying, Ashley, but to me, it seemed like it just happened. The time that we were with them on screen was how long it took. I didn't
what
get
it
the sense that
seemed, but
a long time
what
passed.
they said was different.
What they said was different.
I guess
it
I
was
missed
very hard
that.
to follow the
And
passage of time.
No, I didn't fall asleep. No, I wasn't watching it on 2x speed. Before you even think about it.
It didn't give
Right.
you the option.
1.5 XP.
They didn't even give if you watched it where I watched it, there's no option to adjust
Yeah,
the
no,
flow
on
of
Pluto,
speed. You're
no.
watching it in real time.
Yeah.
So no, but the passage of time is not conveyed well.
Okay.
It seems like
Fair.
it's been going on and on and on, but the way that they explain it, it doesn't even seem like it's been that long. But it's such a heaviness, this deliberation that they're going on. But then, yeah, you don't know what time it is because it's not raining outside, it's daylight. What in the heck is it the next day? You don't know because they're not telling us.
Turns out they're all dead anyway.
This is
It's a Twilight Zone episode.
It is
That's
a
why it's in black and white.
Yeah,
I see.
It makes no sense because they try to speed it up to catch up to the runtime, but it doesn't tell you how long have they been deliberating because based on their verbal cues and what they're saying about the passage of time, it makes it seem like it's been like an hour and a half to 2 hours, but it's sometime it seems like it's the next day and it's daylight and it's like, what the heck is going on? The pacing was all over the place. They didn't convey the passage of time well. I got lost in it and it drove me crazy.
Yeah, no, I can
Show me a clock on the wall.
That's
Even
right.
if you're panning and you're saying
that's a standard
it's 6
convention,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's a standard convention, but it helps the audience keep time with how
Well, this is
long they have
before
been
this
deliberating.
movie was made before time.
It's like God. It's like God. It exists out of time.
Yeah,
and space.
12 Angry Men and God are sort of happening at the same time, and except God.
It's just
No,
I never
no,
mind.
no,
it takes
no.
me out of it. I'm sorry. I need
There-
if you're trying to convey the passage of time, do it in a way where your audience can be cued
Well,
in. It
that's
takes me
just
out of the
part of-
movie.
That's just part of the torture process. It lets you know they're all dead. It's
Ugh.
hot, miserable. There's no time, and they're in the second layer of hell.
All
It
right,
just
speaking
repeats
I
over and
felt
over.
like I was circling the second layer of hell, not
Speaking-
knowing how long time was passed.
Speaking of miserable parts of this movie, here's my tragic maker, guys. This is the sort of more emotional part that I'm like, what? Like I actually like here's before I even say what it is, I will give you a reenactment of what I was like watching this as this is happening. I'm watching him, and I'm like, no, flag on the play. Henry Fonda, you don't get to do that. Sorry, I don't buy it. That was my reaction. Now here's what brought that on. So this is during the scene where he's asking juror number, juror 8 is asking juror number 4, I want to say, who's the guy with the glasses that we find out has the indents, and he's the one that's like one of the holdouts, but he's very logical, which I appreciate
He's
him.
Grandpa
Yeah.
from Christmas Vacation.
He's grandfather,
Yes.
and he's
Yep.
also the president in Superman 2. Yes.
Yes.
Anyway, so Henry Fonda is like, where were you on Monday? Oh, what about the day before that? Oh, you saw the movies. Okay, who was seeing it? And he's just like rattling these things off, and then he's like, okay, yeah, he had trouble remembering the second feature, and it was a little hard for him to remember who was in it, but he got it all. He got it all. So I think he proved his point that the kid should have remembered these things. I don't care. He is under
The
emotional
same
distress,
day of the
trying to
movie.
be in this horrible, hot juror room.
I agree. That
The-
was not
The
convincing at
biggest
all.
problem was that he was asking about a movie that he saw 3 to 4 days or 5 days earlier. The kid was asking about a movie that exact same night.
Yes, exactly.
That part,
exactly.
I agree with that. That's like, that's great. You went back to a movie he didn't know what happened in the second feature, but that was like days ago. This kid just watched that movie then.
So
yeah.
Henry
Now you can
Fonda, you
argue-
didn't prove anything there. Is
Yeah.
what I was
Well,
trying to
fair.
say. Yeah.
There were
Agreed.
several things like that throughout the
No, that was the only one.
No, there were several.
All right, give us your tragic maker then, PaulJPowers.com.
This is not my. It kind of goes into my tragic maker.
All right, fine.
Like the woman with the glasses. Going off of that, like we don't know if she was farsighted or
I
nearsighted.
thought about that, but
Like,
I mean,
what if she's an avid book reader and that's why she has those? So if she's farsighted, she would have been able to see that.
I don't know.
So
That did come.
True.
That did come to mind though. But
Except the fact that if she's a book reader, that means then, okay, she's probably wearing it, but you don't wear them as long.
no, that's why I said avid book reader.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
if-
the thing is, the key thing was that the guy was like reasonable doubt, because
Right.
that should have been one of the questions.
That
the
yeah,
defendant-
I agree. They
defender
should have.
asked,
They
you
should
know,
have
excuse me,
questioned
ma'am,
her
but do you wear
much
glasses?
more. Right.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
You know, oh yeah, I
But-
do wear glasses. Do you wear them all the time? What is your reading skills? Or your
Yeah.
20/20
Can-
or
Can you see through the L train?
But this goes
Yeah.
back to them commenting how the defense probably just didn't want to be there, didn't think he'd win. So
Just
For
a public
6 days,
defender
you can
who's
ask
over-
those questions.
Yeah, but it doesn't seem like they even gave a care to ask
Yeah,
these questions
exactly.
because they were
All right.
ill-prepared.
So going back, what is my?
Tragic maker.
That's not it. It's this. They play this game of let's suppose throughout the whole movie, and a lot of it seems like half the time they were saying, "Oh no, let's think about it." They were being what do I want to? They're not being racist, but they're being very pro witness, meaning like, oh, one of the lines is the kid is not going to scream, I'm going to kill you in the middle of the night for everyone to hear. He's too smart of a boy to do that. That was an argument. But all the witnesses are like, oh, I know this man. He wears a tattered coat. You don't know him. You don't know what he's thinking. And like, oh, this woman, she just wants to be seen, and she's just, she just wants to be heard, and so she's not wearing her glasses. Like you don't know why she's not wearing her glasses. You're coming at it as a way of like almost like a prejudice against everybody else.
almost
And
trying
you're
to
not-
build reasonable doubt.
Not in the same way. You don't have to put down the others of like, oh, they're just here for the fame or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I wouldn't consider
Like
them putting
look
them
at
down.
like,
but okay.
going back to Ken's
Evidence.
reason is like, yeah, I was about to say they should be looking at the evidence, not like oh, he just likes to talk or she just likes to be seen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Rather
They're trying to
than
do
like
the
look
job
at what
of the defense that they didn't.
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
Which is
right.
why.
So, but they
Yeah.
need to go, and I said, remember this, they need to look at the evidence presented.
Yeah. No,
Not
that's fair.
not
Well, it's true.
like, oh, the boy would never do that kind of a thing. Well, that's why you're here.
There's
to
Well,
judge.
it's funny as you put it, the evidence presented. So one that the old man was looking at that guy's tattered clothes. That was evidence presented, so to speak. I mean, you can argue it wasn't presented, but like the witness came up to the stand. She was struggling, walking slowly, tattered clothes, or the woman who was like she put some makeup on.
Right.
You have to make it look good. You're right. All the different things. That is, you could say, I don't know if that's evidence totally, but when you're a juror, that's why they always say for the defendant, always look nice, always be dressed up nicely.
Absolutely. Did you finish your tragic maker, Paul, or was there more to it?
That's enough. I think we spent too much time deliberating on this.
Jeez, it's
No,
like
but
we're
you bring up a good point in the fact that each individual piece at times is meaningless. Okay, you can't really do anything about it. But when you start adding all those pieces up, you get reasonable doubt. And again, when the E.G. Marshall character is like, with the glasses, they go, oh, a reasonable doubt. Okay,
Yeah.
it was not. There's things that this needs to go either be a hung jury, go back to retry it again, or something. But this was not a clear and cut case of murder. He could be guilty. That's what Henry Fonda said. He could be guilty, but there's so many questions here and enough reasonable doubt. Okay, and that's what I think every piece by itself became reasonable doubt.
Yeah. And you know what? I think that leaves time. We're going to go into juror, what's it called? Not quarters.
We're going to go into, we're going to deliberate.
We're going to deliberate.
Jury room.
Yeah, going to the jury room and give you our final rating for 12 Angry Men. Alice, do you have those firing trajectories for us?
Firing solution complete. Rating salvo armed and ready to fire on your mark.
All right. Do we rate 12 Angry Men? Do we try? No, I'll just go with the normal parlance. Do we rate 12 Angry Men a classic? We'd recommend anyone go out and see this, whether or not they've seen it before. Do we rate a nostalgic? It's if you remember enjoying it, whether you watched it in college or maybe as a kid, I guess. Yeah, you'll definitely you'll definitely enjoy watching it again. But if you've never seen it, leave this one be. Or do we rate it a tragic? It's not worth anyone's time today. If you've never seen it before, keep it that way. And if you have seen it before, don't sully any good memories you have of it with a rewatch. So we'll begin with our guests as we like to. Ashley, you had predicted nostalgic. What was your final rating for 12 Angry Men?
Well, after all this deliberation, after reviewing all of this evidence and just seeing all of the information before me and not going just solely on my emotions, my final rating would actually be a classic.
What? Oh, my goodness.
Simply for the fact that, it was well acted. The fact that there were so few actors in this movie, and it was 90+% of it was in a single room.
Mm-hmm.
And my gosh, just seeing the performances of these 12 actors, just seeing from where they start to where they end, just seeing the growth on this just 90+ minute journey, I can see why it is on all of the lists, why it was ranked as one of Roger Ebert's top 100 films. Like, I would watch it again. It was that good to me, and I feel like it deserves the rating of classic.
All right. So nostalgic to classic for Ashley. Now let's go to Ken. You had predicted classic. Did it drop down to tragic for you?
I was going to ask for a secret ballot, but we already started voting.
Oh,
sorry, we're in deliberation.
Yeah.
We gotta just say.
I'm
our
against
but they asked for
ballots
secret
here.
secret ballot.
We have,
remember that?
Someone doesn't want it. Sorry.
Anyway, I'm hopefully not going to disappoint anybody, but it's a classic.
Oh,
okay.
You really, you had me.
Said.
I was like, oh wow, he's going to go nostalgic. Oh,
no, it was a classic. It was like the point where I'm like, again, I've seen it before, and what a great movie. Okay, and it's almost like you'll want to watch it again. I definitely want to watch the Jack Lemmon one that was done 40 years later, knowing that it's different cast of characters. Like one of the things that my wife pointed out was like, where are the women? Like, okay, well, 1957,
women didn't exist in 1957.
Yeah, and they could have been jurors, but it's also 12 angry men, not 12 angry persons. But also, then, where is the quote? If this kid is Puerto Rican, where is the jury of your peers? Now, mind you, not in the race side of things.
Other young boys who killed their father.
But he had.
You're already in prison, Paul.
That's a jury of his peers.
While he didn't have the race type of things, right? He did have people from his pool, okay? Those who were raised in the slum, those who were working class people, those who had good or bad parents, parents who beat them or tried to make a man of them, right? So while they didn't see the actual race similarity, you saw everything else in the diversity of the cast and the characters that did bring into the kid his pool. But he's classic. It's a classic. It's a classic.
Classic. All right. Well, before we go to me and Paul's range, we'd like to go to our reflux capacitors, you guys that make this whole time traveling through the movie space-time continuum possible. Thank you so much for your support. And according to your votes, or was it? According to you guys, you rated it collectively a classic. I ignore the one tragic in there. That's for me just to see what the votes was, because I couldn't see otherwise.
Wow.
So
stop projecting, Francisco.
Oh my gosh, I didn't vote because I'm on the panel.
Well, yeah, and I appreciate that, Ken. So classic from the classic from the reflex capacitors. All right, so now Paul, you had predicted classic, and so if I was a betting man, I'd actually say yours lower to nostalgic, just based on what just based on the evidence that was presented to me.
He knows you so well, doesn't he?
So tell me, Paul, what was your final rating for this film?
But does he know me well enough to know that my actual rating is...
Of course, with no music in this movie, found a way to get the song in. Okay.
It's better than anything on that limited soundtrack.
You know what? I'm gonna have to give you applause. That was well done. Well done.
Great closing argument, Paul.
Thank you. But seriously, you are correct, Francisco. This is a nostalgic for me.
What?
Okay.
I do think there are things that bug me. I think it can be done better. I remember in college after watching this, I watched the later one, the Tony Danza one, and being disappointed. Sorry, Ken, it's not as good as this one. But is it well made? Yes. But do I think everybody needs to go out and see it? No. If you skip it, you're not going to be missing much out of your life. But so it's nostalgic. If you enjoyed it, yeah, I think you'll definitely enjoy it. But I don't think this is one that needs to be on your top list to see.
Gotcha. Awesome. All right. So we have 3 classics and nostalgic. So we got a classic on our hands, regardless of how I vote.
Oh, yay.
But
yeah, it's true.
For me, I had against my better judgment gone with the will of the masses. What would you call it? I went with the masses for my prediction.
You mean like Jack Warden's character? You just flipped?
Exactly. Whoever's going to get me out of this podcast, I'll vote that way.
Okay.
Good job, Captain. No spine.
Any time.
Democratic all the way.
You got tickets to a game that you got to get to.
Tickets to a game. Yeah.
I predicted classic. And after all the watching of it and whatnot, I would say classic. This was a great film. I really enjoyed it. I'm still a little flummoxed at the whole idea that it seemed like so much time passed. It didn't seem like it did to me. It was such a, for me at least, it was a very punchy movie. I thought it hit the points well, except for the music, which totally floundered it, but not enough to make it. Oh my gosh. But for me, yeah, I enjoyed it through and through. Classic for me. So according to the Retro Rewind podcast, we rate 12 Angry Men a slightly disputed classic film. We'd recommend anyone go see it, whether or not you've seen it before. But now it's time to get out of all this anger and get back to our own time. Good old 20XX.
Calm sat online, awaiting incoming transmissions.
20XX.
Feels good.
20XX. What is that? XX means 50, so that's 20, 50, 50,
no, it
100.
means 20.
That's
20 XX
2100?
2020.
I mean,
2020. It's a
20 equals XX.
For those that may not be sure, that if you'd like to know where the 20XX comes from, here's your opportunity to be
in this deliberation for so long. My eyes are XX now.
Are we getting an exposition dump?
Yes, exposition dump on the lore of 20XX. So in the game Mega Man X, it takes place in the year 21XX, but the original Mega Man takes place in 20XX. So it's a homage to one of our favorite game franchises, Mega Man's, by just saying 20XX.
What?
20XX.
Because you didn't know when the show would be airing in the future. You're like, you'd be watching it 100 years from now.
It plays that purpose too.
Back at 20XX, you know, it's like
it plays
Mega
that
Man?
as well. Yes.
It's because whenever the viewer listens to it, it'll be 20XX.
Faith in this podcast. You know,
it's a dual meaning.
Hey,
anyway,
Kennethan, just a word of warning: don't ask about the midichlorians.
Oh my gosh.
Don't do it.
It feels good to be back, but we wouldn't have been able to travel back to 1957 to begin with if it weren't for our amazing reflux capacitors, some of whom are in the chat, and some of whom are right here. So they would be Deborah Powers, Geek Devotions, Drew of the Cellcast, Ashley Ruiz. Oh, you're right here. Kennethan. Oh, you're right here too.
Just a flesh wound.
Really, Ken? Fabulous Lomax, That's Our Babo, D. Tungsten, Daryl Hafner, Cool Deluxe, Dustin, He's a Big Deal Warford, Flux, Redeemed Utaku, in addition to 2 other awesome patrons as well. Thank you all so much for keeping the gigawatts coming, and if you want to help keep us flying and get bonus content for your generosity, head over to retrorewindpodcast.com/support or firejoystudios.com/support to start.
This stream is sponsored by pauljpowers.com.
So, Francisco.
Yes, epicpauljpowers.com.
Yes. Are there any ways for supporters to show us some love without breaking their bank accounts?
Well, there are, but you know what? I'd like to take a moment, and we just deliberated about this movie, but let's pass a verdict on this kid. Was that kid from
he's from 20XX too.
Do you guys
he's actually
believe,
from 19XX.
Do you guys believe he was guilty or not guilty? And the
or
patron
what not if he was guilty or not guilty, but what verdict would we give as a
juror?
Yeah,
that's sure, yes. What verdict would you give if you were on this jury? So, and thank you again to Flux for not only picking this movie, but also asking this question. Let's go from oldest to youngest. So, Ken,
what dare you assume I'm the oldest person here? How's that possible?
All right, how old are you, Ken?
No,
he meant the most mature.
Yes, the wisest.
So, I mean, obviously, all the evidence presented, there was a lot of reasonable doubt. Was he guilty or not? You know, it's like, because of the reasonable doubt, you know, I'm like, I wouldn't say he's more likely innocent than guilty.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
That doesn't sound right, because I think can't know for a fact, but there was too much evidence that did not prove that he was guilty. Now, there could be evidence that proves he's guilty.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So not guilty from Ken. How about guilty. You,
Paul? Before this podcast, I would have said guilty because my understanding of reasonable doubt was different. But after and yes, by the way, I'm not a lawyer. The definition I read.
Yes.
Do not seek legal advice from this podcast because that is just one little area that I was reading. Could be wrong. I don't know. I would have to consult a lawyer. But going off of what I read, I would throw in a vote of not guilty because it's not. There is doubt in my head. Yeah. Based on the evidence presented. Yeah.
I would say the same. Everything, even though I know Paul, it sort of rubbed you the wrong way, that a lot of it was like this sort of like not unsubstantial, but this almost hearsay type evidence. Well, like, well, was she far side? Maybe she was near side. I mean, or flip those.
Right.
And the whole like the knife flick. Well, the person obviously did use that knife and go down, so obviously there is another way to use it. So barring all that though, there was enough of these little like inconsistencies with how wherever the prosecution presented that, to me, in my mind, I would also I would have to say not guilty. Looking at that kid though, he was guilty as sin. I can totally tell. But
yeah.
According to the evidence,
I think he said at the beginning, he said there cannot be a hung jury. I think he said in this because of whatever the state. So
yeah, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, I know in some certain circumstances, if there's a hung jury, there would be a retrial. But I think they set that up at the beginning, like that's not the case for this. Because I would want that kid retried because if he is guilty, then so if that were the case, I would actually throw in a guilty vote just to keep it hung so that it could be retried. So that the right evidence could be presented. Anyway,
And Ashley. So we have 3 not guilties. Will you be the one to send him to the chair?
No.
Oh, okay.
I couldn't in good.
It's a comfy chair.
Yeah, no, I couldn't in good conscience send that kid to the chair. Just the fact that the evidence presented and the fact that one by having that deliberation and examining all the evidence and it only leading to more questions tells me that the defense didn't do a good enough job, that the prosecution didn't do a good enough job, because all it led to was more questions, and none of those questions were seemingly answered. All the jury could do was speculate, and because they didn't have the answers to all of the questions that came through in examining the evidence, they could confidently say not guilty. And if
sounds like a bad movie. Lower your rating.
Wow.
And honestly, like, you shouldn't walk away with like 10 times more questions and no answers.
Yeah.
Because and that is enough. There is no, without beyond a reason of a doubt, to be like, yeah, guilty. Let's send him. Ashley's not an actual lawyer. I just watch a lot of Law and Order. Let's just say that. She watches way too much Law and Order. Guilty.
Cool, and I'll bet they'll thank you for it.
Oh my gosh.
Just guilty. I've been watching and pretty much any spinoff of Law and Order I've seen.
Wait, so now you're saying guilty?
No,
Yeah.
it's not guilty.
Oh, not guilty. Oh, okay. No.
I heard
Not
just guilty.
Yeah, I heard just guilty.
I'm just saying,
I'm going to the
guilty of
witness
watching
stand to
too
say
much
I heard.
Law and Order. But I'm not a lawyer.
All right.
But just based on
Point of order, tape-recorded evidence is not-
questions, not guilty.
All right.
Okay, Mr.
Dun,
Green.
dun.
Dun. All right. So. But
wrong. Dun.
To answer your question, Paul, about where people can support us if they don't have the money to break the bank. So some great ways to support us is, you know what? You probably enjoyed this podcast if you've been listening to it so far. So one way is, why not, if you're not driving, go to our page and comment on this podcast post. Do you believe the kid was guilty or innocent? Just why don't you throw in your 2 cents and let us know. Maybe we could get a consensus. First 12 votes wins. Or maybe you're like, oh, man, I love this movie, or I don't. This movie's fine, but I know of one of my friends loves 12 Angry Men. I bet they'd love to listen to this. Well, tap the share icon in your podcast player and send this to that friend and say, hey, I know you like 12 Angry Men. I bet you'd like this podcast on it.
Cool. And I'll bet they'll thank you for it.
Well, yeah.
And speaking of thanking people, we want to give a big court-ordered hug to Ashley and Ken for supporting us with their thoughts about.
Why are you hugging me? The judge said I had to.
Sorry, bailiff will arrest me if I don't.
They'll find you in contempt.
Yes, exactly.
So, Ashley, where can people find you online? And is there anything cool you got going on that people should know about?
Nothing really going on, but if you must find me, you can find me on the platform formerly known as Twitter at Ashley Ruiz1186, where I tweet on all things faith and fandom.
Cool.
Awesome.
And Ken, where can people find you online? And is there anything cool that you got going on that they should check out?
Well, I stream on Twitch, so on Kenneth Ends, if you want to find me. We've been playing Once Human recently. My stream career is kind of like taking a little bit of a difference, because with my wife back here, I've been spending more time in IRL, I might say, right? So I've been streaming like twice a week now, but I might get back to 3 days. We'll see. So you also can find me on Twitter at Kenneth and Live.
Cool.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Ashley and Ken. It's so fantastic getting to podcast with you both. And Paul, of course, is awesome trying this movie with you. And all you rewinders, new and old, thank you for another fun voyage.
Yeah, but does the fan work in here? Come on.
No, but
Mine does.
we also want to thank Alutrick for enhancing our music. Find him at alutrick.bandcamp.com or youtube.com/@Alutrick. That's spelled ALLOOUTRICK, then the number 8266 for the YouTube. So thank you so much to him.
Cool. And speaking of websites, I am pauljpowers.com. You can find me and what I've been up to lately at pauljpowers.com.
Fantastic. And you can find me on our Discord for show announcements or just to say hi. Join us there at retrorewindpodcast.com/Discord. Dang it, that's the wrong one. Edna mode.
I was about to say, I can hear that one.
Edna mode.
You need a recess.
This podcast is a proud member of Culture Box, a curated collection of podcasts, videos, and articles that will provide you a balanced meal of content. You will find culture celebrated for its past and future, satirized for its extremes, explored in study, and created anew in story. Point your web browser to culturebox.media.
And as the judge just said, we are now part of Culture Box Media Network. Find all the shows unpacking truth through story, comedy, and geekery at culturebox.media.
Thank you, EXO, and thank you for listening. We pray you are more joyful today than when you first hit play, and that you're not like on trial for anything. But like a Pokemon, we gotta catch you all for Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead, our next adventure on the Retro Rewind podcast.
Retro Rewind mission complete. Proceed to base to await next mission.
I don't understand you people. I mean, all these picky little points you keep bringing up, they don't mean nothing.
Yeah, they don't mean nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. Oh my goodness. And yeah, thank you so much, Flux, for picking this movie. Thank you, Bobo, Andy Tungsten, and Dale.
And Flux, thanks for the follow.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
I got
did he
a
follow?
follower
Oh,
during-
nice. Fabulous.
Yeah.
Thanks for being here.
Follow
Darth
me too. Thank you.
Bradius. Or Bradius. Yeah, Bradius. I think I'm saying that right. Yeah, I appreciate you all for hanging out, Geek Devotions. I know you were here before, Yoshi. Yeah, just thank you everyone who was hanging out here, even though we're not, I'm catching bits and pieces from the chat, so I hopefully none of you feel like slighted if I don't say the thing you wrote or address what you said.
Slighted.
Slighted?
Yeah, slide. Aren't those little mini hamburgers?
Those are
that have
sliders, Paul.
been- Yeah, they slid down my mouth. They're slided.
My word. This was a ways down my list of suggestions. Glad someone else picked. Oh, okay, cool. Just to give you, so we're going to go to the spiritual speculation now. But we'll be back in a couple weeks, I think. The next podcast.
For Don't Tell Mom.
The Babysitters. Have you ever seen that movie, Ken? I'm curious.
I don't know. I don't know the name of it, but it sounds familiar.
Babysitters. Who wants to watch that?
No, we said babysitter, the baby.
So there's Adventures in Babysitting, and I thought Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead was a sequel to that movie.
Oh no!
I've seen the Babysitters Club from 1995.
Oh, that's another
I
baby.
saw that in theaters, and I read all the
Christina
books.
Applegate, Joanna Cassidy. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's
I
see.
don't know. Might have seen it. 1991.
I wasn't alive.
Yeah. Jeez. 91.
Wait,
That's a
91 or
patron pick?
81?
91.
90. Okay.
No, I was alive.
Okay.
I turned 6.
I was gonna say that seems
Or
like an
was
81.
that
My third
voted
one
up?
was.
It's listener decided, but I'm
Yeah,
just curious.
the Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead was a listener vote.
Indeed.
Okay, so the votes are in, folks. They're
Yeah,
working.
though you may be wondering, guys, like where did the voting thing go? Where can we vote? So me and Paul are going to be starting we're going to be starting to do in next year, voting for essentially every quarter. You'll vote for the movies that we'll cover in the next quarter. So it'll hopefully feel like your vote actually is going to matter pretty quickly.
Real time.
Yeah, it's more real time than I voted once 2-3 years ago. Oh, they're finally getting to that movie. Did my vote matter? I don't know. So
Well, I
hopefully,
mean, good. You might be alive when you finally get to the vote. So
Exactly.
or your movie.
is this the whole like I hope I hang on long enough for Chariots of Fire again?
Yes.
Yes.
You did make it.
I should make
I
you
ran
cover
the race.
Babysitter's Club. You'd hate that movie.
I probably would.
This is pretty much the worst video ever made.
Wow.
That can be said about a lot of things.
Yes, true.
What the heck would
but
you do in a
not.
situation like that?
Oh my god.
But not
Turn off
Monty
the movie.
Python's Holy Grail.
That's too bad.
Anyway, we're gonna go, guys. Thank you so much
Sweet.
for hanging out here, and until next time, here is your stream face.
Okay.